You know that moment when someone says something so cutting, so perfectly designed to hit where it hurts most, that time seems to stop? That's exactly what happened to me last Thanksgiving. I had just spent 14 hours preparing a feast for 12 people. My feet were killing me, my back ached, and I hadn't eaten anything except a corner of cornbread I grabbed while plating the food. I pulled the second turkey out of the oven, golden brown and perfect, and that's when my sister Mokali decided to deliver her verdict. She looked around the table, loud enough for everyone to hear, and said, "We should just order takeout next time. At least it'll be edible." The room went silent for about 3 seconds. Then my husband Mark snorted. Not a big laugh, just this dismissive little snort that said everything I needed to know about where I stood in this family. I looked around the table, waiting for anyone, to defend me. Nobody did. So I stood up, untied my apron, and said very calmly, "Next time, you can all pay for takeout too, because I'm done." They laughed. They actually laughed, like I was having some kind of cute little tantrum. That laughter was the sound of 12 people who had no idea they were about to learn the hardest lesson of their lives. Let me back up and explain how we got here. For the past 5 years, I had been the architect of every single family gathering. I wasn't just the person who cooked, though I did that too, spending days planning menus and shopping for ingredients. I was the one who booked vacation rentals, coordinated travel, organized gift exchanges, bought matching Christmas pajamas, planned activities for the kids. I made the holidays magical, and they just showed up. Kelly had always made little comments. Eye rolls when I'd explain the dinner timeline. Eyes when I'd ask everyone to help with cleanup. Passive-aggressive remarks about how some people take holidays too seriously. But Mark's family seemed to think this was just Kelly being Kelly, and Mark never stood up to his sister about anything. That Thanksgiving night, after everyone left and Mark went to bed without so much as asking if I was okay, I sat in the kitchen with a glass of wine and made a decision. I was done pretending that this level of disrespect was acceptable. More importantly, I was done being invisible. What they didn't realize was that I wasn't just upset about one comment. I was strategically angry. You see, I had something they needed, and they had taken it completely for granted. I controlled every single family tradition, every reservation, every plan that made their holidays special. The next morning, I didn't clean up the disaster in the kitchen. When Mark asked about leftovers for lunch, I told him he could eat whatever he wanted, but I wasn't touching a single dish. Then I got dressed and left. I drove to a quiet park and sat in my car, letting myself feel the full weight of years of accumulated disrespect. This wasn't just about Kelly's comment. This was about every time Mark's mother criticized something I did while he stayed silent. Every time Kelly rolled her eyes at my efforts while everyone acted like I was being too sensitive. Every time I bent over backwards to make things perfect for people who couldn't even manage basic gratitude. That's when I realized I had been approaching this all wrong. Instead of demanding respect, I was going to let them discover what they had lost. I pulled out my phone and started canceling. First, the Christmas cabin in Asheville that I had booked 6 months in advance. Gone. Then the New Year's beach house rental. Cancelled. The Easter brunch reservation at that upscale restaurant downtown. I called and told them to give our table away. One by one, I systematically dismantled every plan I had made for the next year. It was oddly satisfying, like clearing out a closet full of clothes that no longer fit. They didn't find out immediately. A week later, Kelly texted asking for the cabin address so she could plan her drive up. I replied simply no cabin. Cancelled it. I'm not planning anything anymore. Feel free to make your own arrangements. She didn't respond, but 3 hours later Mark came home from work asking why Ellie was freaking out about Christmas. I explained that she was upset because she assumed I would continue doing everything even after insulting me. Mark sat on the couch and rubbed his face like I was the one being unreasonable. "You could have at least told people," he said. I stared at him. "You mean the same way you told your sister not to insult me at our dinner table?" He didn't have an answer for that. December rolled around, and for the first time in years, our house was quiet. No decorations, no guest room preparations, no cookie baking with Kelly's kids. Just the peaceful hum of normal life without the stress of orchestrating everyone else's happiness. Mark asked half-heartedly if we were still doing gifts with his family. I told him no, I hadn't drawn names for Secret Santa, and they would have to figure it out themselves. Christmas Day came and went. Mark's mother tried to host something last minute, but he volunteered to help cook. I saw the photos on Facebook later: frozen lasagna, a sad bowl of salad, Storm-bought cookies on a plastic tray. Kelly posted one picture of her kids eating pizza with the caption, Not the same without our usual holiday magic. Damn right it wasn't. I thought maybe after that disaster, someone would reach out. Maybe Mark would finally sit me down and ask how I felt. He didn't. He acted like the canceled plans just happened by accident, like I was being too emotional about everything. One night in January, while we were brushing our teeth, I asked him directly, "Do you even care that your family disrespected me? That you laughed when they mocked my cooking?" He didn't even look up from the mirror. He spit, wiped his mouth, and said, "It was a joke. You're taking it too seriously." That's when I knew I was truly alone in my marriage. That hurt deeper than anything Kelly had ever said. I stopped showing up for family events entirely. Kelly's youngest had a birthday party in February. I didn't go. Mark went and came back with a slice of cake on a paper plate, saying they asked where I was. "I told them you were still mad," he said. I looked him dead in the eye. "No, I'm not mad. I'm finished." In March, Kelly's 15 minus old daughter, Gracie, texted me an "Opie, are you mad at us? I miss the stuff we used to do." That cracked my heart a little. Gracie had always been sweet, always helped me in the kitchen, always said thank you. I didn't blame her for the adult's behavior. I responded, "I'm not mad at you, sweetie. Just taking a step back from adults who treated me badly." 2 hours later, Kelly texted, "Don't drag my kid into this." I took a deep breath and replied then, "Maybe teach your kid how to treat people better than you do." By April, it was our 10th wedding anniversary. I waited to see what Mark would do, if he would make any effort to repair what had been broken. The night before our anniversary, he came home with a grocery store bouquet and a bottle of wine. "Happy anniversary," he said, handing them to me like I was a co-worker. No card, no reservation, no thought. I stared at the sad flowers and asked, "This is what 10 years means to you?" He shrugged. "We've had a rough few months. I didn't think you'd be up for anything." "You didn't ask," I said. "You've been cold since Thanksgiving," he replied. "You act like I cheated or something." "No," I said. "You didn't cheat. But you showed me how little I mattered to you." "That's worse." The next week, his mother called trying to smooth things over. "Sweetheart, it's been long enough, don't you think? We all say things we don't mean during holidays." "She meant it," I said. "She's always meant it." "That wasn't new. That was just the first time you all said it out loud." She sighed. "We're planning a summer barbecue. Why don't you and Mark come? Clean slate." I paused. "Only if Kelly apologizes." Long silence. "Let's not make this about pride." I hung up. It's funny how people treat you when they assume you'll always stay. That you'll swallow the insults, do the work, take the jokes, and smile for the camera. But when you really stop, they fall apart. By May, their family group chat was practically dead. It used to ping constantly with photos, updates, memes about chaotic family gatherings. I had started that group chat years ago, even named it the last name Circus. Now it was just Kelly posting Ask Kaylee questions like anyone want to host for 4th of July, with no responses. In June, I ran into Kelly at the grocery store. She gave me this fake smile and said, "Hey stranger. The family really misses you. Especially Mom. She says it's not the same without your touch." Then she tilted her head with this condescending expression and said, "But I guess we all got tired of walking on eggshells." I looked her dead in the face. "You weren't walking on eggshells. You were throwing them." She blinked, clearly shaken, muttered whatever, and walked away. That night I told Mark what happened. His response? "God, are we still on this?" No defense, no shock, no care. Just exhaustion with me. "Do you even know what I gave up for your family?" I asked. "Every holiday, every plan, every tradition we had, it existed because I built it. And when they mocked me, you laughed." He looked annoyed. "So what now? You gonna hold this over everyone's head forever?" "No," I said. "I'm gonna hold it over mine and decide how much more of this I want to carry." My birthday fell on a Saturday in July. I woke up to a text from his mother wishing me happy birthday, hoping Mark would treat me well today. Mark had forgotten completely. When I asked if he made dinner reservations, he shrugged and said I was picky, figured I'd want to pick the place myself. That night, I took myself out to dinner. Alone. I ordered wine, 2 courses, sat on the patio watching families laugh together. When the waiter asked if I was celebrating anything, I said, "Yeah, the day I stopped doing things for people who never appreciated me." I went home, packed a suitcase, and slept in the guest room. The next morning, I told Mark I was going to stay with my sister for a while. He barely looked up from his phone. if that's what you want. At my sister's house, I found something my home with Mark didn't have peace. No tension in the walls, no cold looks over morning coffee. Just me, my suitcase, and my decision. Mark sent one text after 3 weeks, you've made your point. Can we talk now? I didn't answer. Instead, I started making a list of what was mine, what I'd built, what I was no longer willing to tolerate. By mid-August, I filed for divorce. Mark was shocked, called over and over, left voicemail saying he didn't mean for it to get this far. Too late. I'd been in counseling by myself for 6 months. He never noticed. After I filed, his family exploded not at me, but at each other. His mother called me in tears, saying she missed me, that things weren't the same. I stayed calm. When your daughter insulted me in front of everyone and you said nothing, that's when things changed. When Mark laughed, that's when they ended. She begged me to reconsider. You should have taught your children that kindness matters, I said. This is what happens when you don't. Here's the part I didn't plan, but it was deeply satisfying. In October, Kelly hosted a last-minute Halloween gathering. She posted photos store-bought candy, cheap decorations, plastic tablecloths. 3 people showed up. The next day, she posted on Facebook reminder to appreciate the people who put effort into making things special. You'll miss them when they're gone. I didn't comment, but my sister and I had a good laugh about it. The divorce dragged on. Mark stalled, said he was reconsidering everything. In December, he showed up at my sister's door holding a box of cards and photos from our life together. You can't just erase us, he said. We had good years. I nodded. We did. But I didn't erase us. You did? One snort at that table told me exactly where I stood. He looked broken, but I felt relief. I told him I'd see him in court. This past Thanksgiving, I stayed home alone. I made myself a small, perfect meal, the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, one small turkey breast. I sat at the table by myself, and it was quiet and peaceful. No snide comments, no eye rolls. When I took the first bite, I smiled, because it was damn good, and I didn't care who else agreed. Mark lost more than a wife. After the divorce, his family blamed him. Kelly kept her distance. Their group had died for good. No more big family dinners. No more matching pajamas, no more traditions. They didn't laugh anymore. And me, I rebuilt. Slowly. I reconnected with old friends, found a part-time job at a local bakery, started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but enough to remember how it feels to be seen and appreciated. Was I perfect? I should have spoken up earlier, should have set boundaries years before. I waited too long because I thought that's what good wives did, swallow the disrespect and keep the peace. But I learned something valuable the next time I hosted dinner. It'll be for people who bring more than just an appetite. They'll bring respect. And if they can't manage that simple courtesy, they can order their own takeout.